Today I'm going to show what is in my pen case. We'll go through all the different things that I keep in it, where it's from, and then also how I like to use all my different pens and bits and bobs that I keep in here. So first thing is where it's from. So I decided to use this leather clamshell clasp pen case because what it means is that I can open it basically with one hand, set it open like this, and then I can go in and grab whatever I need from here as I need to while I'm planning or journaling or doing anything. So it sits there while I have, say, a notebook out on the side. I like that a lot better than a pen case where it sits on the side and the zipper is just over here, and sometimes I have pens spilling out, and that can get a little bit inconvenient or cumbersome because I can't see everything and also stuff is spilling out, which never works quite well when you're sitting at a coffee shop with limited space. I got it from Etsy, where I also got my TN, and I'll link it. The first thing I wanted to call out is that my daily fountain pens that I use are with the notebook I use them in. So for example, over here I have my Hobonichi Techo, and inside I have my fountain pen that I use with it. And similarly, in my TN, I keep my fountain pen with my TN as well. So you can see it attached with a pen loop here. And I like to match the ink colors to the covers as well. For each of these pens, I'll also have a notebook where I will test writing them out. So my first pen is actually a pencil, and this is the Uni Kurotoga in 0.3, and I've had this for many, many years. It's really sturdy. I can make incredibly precise lines with it, and I have a bunch of replacement erasers, so whenever I need a new one I can put one in, and then I carry a ton of lead inside my barrel as well, so I don't run out anytime soon. I typically like B grade pencil lead so that it's a little bit softer. I'll just write Kurotoga 0.3. My next pen that I like to keep with me is this zebra brush pen. And I've been carrying this because I want to be able to make both thin and broad strokes, and I've been trying to learn how to sketch and draw. So this has been a really nice way to feel like I can draw something that feels pretty complete without having to carry multiple different types of pens. And this is the zebra. And let me see, I don't know what its precise name is, but let's go and just say brush pen. This is in hard, so it's not too difficult to make thin strokes as well. But you can get really nice line variation, and it's also pretty inky. Sometimes I can struggle to keep up if I'm writing on a really absorbent paper or drawing on a really absorbent paper, but it's also really nice though because I'm still able to use watercolor right on top of it, so it is waterproof. The next set of pens that I keep are my Copic Mildliners. I have a couple sizes here, but I want to get a new one of these once this is done, which might take a while. But I like to use 0.1s in my planner for adding headlines and titles, and then I have a matching set of Mildliners with them too. So these have been really nice for using in my planner. Copic, Multiliner. This one is Wine in 0.3. Next one is the Sepia. I think it's, yeah, it is Sepia. So Copic. This one's actually pretty dry now. To get a new one. .1, and I might actually change this one to brown, so that's a bit darker. And the last one is Copic Multiliner and olive. It's not really an olive though. I'd say it's more of a true green, like how Abby Side described one of her inks as a true green. I'd say this is very similar to a true green as well. Then I also carry the companion Mildliners for each of those shades. So the wine goes with my dusty pink. So I'll draw over here a little bit of a mark. You can also highlight over them, which is why I like these. So I'll highlight the Copic. And sometimes I use these to color in my notebook sketches too, in my planners. So Mildliner. Then the brown, so this one I think I got beige. It's in Japanese, so I'm guessing at the exact shade that it is. This is why I feel like the darker Copic would look nice. Just adds a little bit more contrast. And then I have my olive green. I really like this color. I'm using it all the time. One other Copic liner that I keep in my pen case that is outside of this little trio of colors that I'm using all the time in my notebooks is black. So I also have a 0.1 Copic liner in black. And similarly, I use it in my planners for titles. I also use it to sketch and then use highlighter or paint over because it's waterproof, so it's nice to have a fine liner that does that. The reason why I use the Copic instead of the Micron is that I've sometimes have trouble with the nib consistency on my microns, but that's also because I have a million microns that are also probably a million years old or super new, and they just have a lot of random inconsistencies because I've had them for forever. The next pen I have in my pen case is my TWSBI, and it's nice because I will usually put inks that I'm trying out in this pen, and because the pen body is clear, I feel like I'm not bound to a certain color scheme versus my sailors all have these gorgeous colors on them, and I feel like I have to use a color inside the pen that matches. These I just have random different colors inside. This is like Yozakura, and then I think a little bit of Zare Gokuro got mixed in. So I keep this one so I have another ink to use when I feel like it. So let's go TWSBI. And this is in extra fine. So TWSBI Mini Clear, extra fine. And the color, well, I won't name the color because it wouldn't be completely accurate since there's a bit of pigment mixed together. And I really, really love TWSBI's. The build quality, the price, they write really nicely. Their customer service is also really phenomenal. So they have me as a very loyal customer. This is my TWSBI. Second to last is my Petite Whisper or cream tape. Yeah. And this is in 4mm. I also have a 2.5mm, but I use this one a smidgen more. It's just like a little bit more versatile for covering a whole line in one stroke. And I have cream because I was using the Weeks a lot, but I might actually get a white correction tape instead. But because I'm writing with fountain pens, obviously, I need to correct stuff. So it's nice to have the correction tape available to me. Lastly, I have probably the most exciting thing in my pen case, which is my art toolkit and water brush. And this is the Demi palette. So it is the smallest, itty bittiest, tiny palette that they make. So let me pull that out. And one thing I keep with my palette is also a tiny itty bitty sheet of blotting paper. So if I don't have a towel or a napkin to blot my water brush off on, I can use blotting paper. And this is a J. Herbin blotting paper, just cut to the same size as my palette. And inside my palette, I have a few custom selected colors that I love to use that allow me to mix basically anything I want, and are really lovely to work with, have a combination of both granulating colors and also translucent colors. And I use these to, say in combination with the microns, color in my illustrations in my planner. The pen that I'm using, I actually got this from an old stationery store I used to go to in Taiwan. I don't think you can buy this brand, or I've tried to look for it, but it's basically the same exact thing as the Faber-Castell water brush. And what I like about this is that it's a piston fill. So if I open this up, you can see it's got a very small hole over here, so I can control the water flow a lot more than, say, a more typical water brush that I've used in the past. This pulls back, so let's see if I can, there we go. So that pulls back and then sucks water in when you put this into a cup of water, and then you just push it back to closed and lid your pen up. If I open it, you can see this is the nib, so it's been dyed by all my inks. But if I squeeze the middle, water will flow. And I'll swatch some of my colors. So we'll start with the yellow. There's going to be a little bit of contamination because it's got inks all over, or paints all over from mixing. I am using Daniel Smith lemon yellow, so it's a cooler toned yellow. I have the Daniel Smith quinacridone gold, one of my favorite colors to use for mixing and also on its own because it's got a really lovely range. I've got Daniel Smith burnt sienna. I have Potter's pink. And this is a very granulating, this is Daniel Smith Potter pink. Actually, no, this is Schmincke's Potter pink. And it's very granulating, more granulating in the Daniel Smith version, which I will replace into here later. I have quinacridone pink here. Then I have French ultramarine. These are both Daniel Smith as well. You can tell I really like Daniel Smith paints. They really are my favorite. Phthalo blue. And then a fun color. Oh, it's got a little bit of contamination. Let's see what I can get off. A fun color, undersea green. So these really just allow me to mix anything I want, and sometimes I'll use it to highlight different parts of my notebook too. So for example, on the weeks, I can create a really cute look at the headlines. Let me go grab that. So here's what that looks like on the weeks. I just use these paints to color in the different dates over here. So it's really fun to be able to add that pop of color into my weeks pages. So move this aside. And that's it for everything in my pen case. I've got the water brush, my art toolkit, demi palette. You get the blotting paper with that too. My correction tape. I have the 3 Mildliners. Pop those in. My TWSBI. My Copics. Hopefully I have 4 of those. My brush pen. And then pencil. And that's what I take with me to coffee shops, to just around the house. And I really love being able to use this set of colors across all my different planners and painting as well.